and those with little control, and from medium-sized municipalities and really small ones. We will learn from them all. But first, some housekeeping. There are 6 short presentations, so today's webinar is action-packed. We'll be moving through the presentations at a fast clip. Please type your questions into the chat box. Missy and Gail will keep an eye on them, and we've allowed a few minutes after each presentation for Q&A. We'll address additional questions at the end of the webinar if time permits. If you've not already done so, please edit your screen name to include your municipality's name. In your personal Zoom Brady Bunch box, you'll see 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on the dots, you'll have an option to rename yourself. Please also make sure that you're muted. This webinar is being taped, and the link will be sent to all those registered, along with presentations and important handouts from our presenters. Before we start, I'd like to make a shout out to other members of the TMAC team that pulled this webinar together. Julia Green from Northeast District 3, Gail Guerin, formerly of Northeast District 2, and as of yesterday, a new member of the Boston MassDEP team, and Missy Hollenbeck from Southeast District 2. So why websites? I'm pretty sure that you all understand how much more important websites are today than they've been in the past, but I checked. And as of 2023, 92% of Americans use the internet. That's up from 75% just 11 years ago. But the internet can be frustrating when you have to dig to access the information you seek. We probably all have experienced that. When residents can easily find the information they need online, it makes them happy because they've independently and quickly solved their problem. And it makes you happy because each time a person independently finds a solution, it saves 5 to 10 minutes of your time. A good website typically reduces the number of phone calls and emails that you receive in the office. A strong website provides consistent and accurate messaging to all residents. Everyone gets the same information, which reduces confusion and frustration. The Recycle Smart Recyclopedia widget is a perfect example of consistent messaging because it provides up-to-date, accurate recycling information that's consistent statewide. It helps all Massachusetts residents learn that empty pizza boxes are now acceptable in your recycling bin, even if they have greasy parts. Employing it on your webpage ensures that everybody gets that important memo. A strong website will also help you earn RDP points. If your municipality provides a yard waste collection option for your residents, but nothing is mentioned on your website, you're not only disappointing folks who are looking to discard their clippings, you'll also lose out when Boston seeks to verify your program and can't find information about yard waste disposal on your website. So lots of good reasons to pay some renewed attention to your web pages. Our first presenter is Taylor Galusha, the communications coordinator for the town of Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury provides its residents with curbside collection and has a population of about 40,000. Taylor has an advanced degree in communications and has been putting her skills to work for the town to great effect. She's going to share her strategy, some basic best practices, and provide a potential action framework for website improvement. Welcome, Taylor.
Sharing my screen. All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the great introduction. My name is Taylor Galusha. I am the communications coordinator here in Shrewsbury. I prepared some slides, but this is a little overview of what I'll be talking about and the best practices I want to share with you all for website improvement. So I've been with the town for a little over 2.5 years now. I'm the first communications professional in the town, and I'm a team of 1, but I get to collaborate with all of our departments on the website, outreach, and communications project, which makes my life a lot easier to be able to take everyone's great ideas and bring them to life for our residents. Just a little bit about Shrewsbury. We're approximately 40,000. We're located right outside of Worcester, and we're a full service municipality providing residents with cable, electric, phone, water services. We do a split stream curbside recycling program accompanied by our weekly curbside pay as you throw program. And we have scheduled yard waste collections throughout the year, including curbside and drop off. And we also offer other services to our residents related to bulk waste and textiles. So these are my 4 best practices for improving your webpage. I included a little screen grab of our webpage right now. So as you can see, we've done a lot to update our webpage to make it a little bit more streamlined and easy for residents to find the information they're looking for quickly, whether it's related to trash collection, recycling, our contact information for our waste providers and our yard waste provider, and then our contact information for our program manager here in town. We try to direct residents to the resources they want quickly and efficiently, whether it's reporting a missed collection, getting them to the collection calendar quickly, or that Recycle Smart tool to help them figure out what can and can't go in the recycling. So our first best practice of the day is be process driven. Think about what your community members might be looking for when they come to your website. Make sure the information is relevant and current. We go through a lot of updates on a day-to-day, weekly basis. And we utilize this through our recent updates page for our trash and recycling collection program. So right now we're in the middle of running our yard waste collection program. And so we wanted to make sure that that information was elevated to the top of our website. And by making this easily accessible, we help limit phone calls and frustrations by helping residents find what they need quickly and efficiently. Lost my mouse. Next, another good tip, usually if your website is hosted through an outside program, we utilize Civic Plus. They have built-in analytics. And by using your analytics, you can see what your most viewed pages in your town are. So our number 2, number 3, and number 5 most viewed pages in town are all related to our trash and recycling program. So you'll see solid waste and recycling. That's that main page I just showed you. Number 3 is the waste calendar, and number 5 is our yard waste program. So this is overall what people are looking for on our website. So we wanted to make sure we were able to elevate that information to the top for when residents go looking for when their trash is being collected. And then under process driven, simple messaging with the necessary information. So keeping things simple, elevate the information that people are looking for, date, time, location. A good example of this is just our reminder about our yard waste curbside collection, noting that it's occurring last week. So just the friendly reminders about what is and isn't allowed for those collections. Again, limiting the amount of phone calls and questions residents may have when they do receive this information, just so it's efficient and helpful. And by having an efficient and helpful website, that allows it to go a lot smoother and easier for your staff. Next, be creative. A good tool that's free and its most basic version is Canva. It's an easy to use tool that can help create basic flyers, templates, and graphics like you can see on our website. So these graphic buttons that appear on our website were all made in Canva and then linked to be able to take people to those different pages. You don't need to be a graphic designer to use Canva. They, like I said, they make pre-made templates that you can use over and over again. It's intuitive with looking up different symbols like the trash can that you can see on our webpage. It really enables people to kind of elevate the content they're able to create and share with their residents. And like I said, it is a free tool to do all this type of design work. Next, the Google Suite is if your town utilizes Google, and I know Microsoft has similar tools like this. It's another great tool, especially the Google Forms tool. It can update in real time and be embedded on your website. As you can see here, we use it as a sign up form on our website for one of our monthly newsletters. People can log in and fill out these Google Forms right there on your website to help them stay more informed and connected on various topics. And depending on who does host your website, and it's Civic Plus has one, and I'm sure other hosts like Granicus and whatnot have these same trainings. Take advantage of the trainings that are provided by your company that hosts your town website. They have a variety of trainings and tutorials that I've helped use to solve problems and bring visions to life, like those buttons you could see on the last screenshot I shared. When I get stuck trying to do something, it always helps me find the answers I'm looking for and helps me learn new skills. Third, best practice, continuous improvement. There's always an opportunity to improve on what you have. A great example was actually when I was going through the process of doing this presentation for this webinar. When I was meeting with the MassDEP team and we were going through each of the pages, we were kind of just like, oh wait, why is there a button for resident guidebook and resident resources when that's kind of duplicative and kind of taking up space where we could be using something else or combining them into one. So that is definitely an update we're going to make in the near future of moving the resident guidebook under resident resources, and also gives us more space to elevate other information like a list of collection days in town to that spot that's being taken up by the resident guidebook right now. So just getting outside perspectives is super helpful and easy, and helps make changes that if you stare at something long enough, you might not see anymore. So get feedback, refine, and go back to step one. Let's see. And finally, my slides are out of order. It's supposed to be pretty like that. Finally, best practice number 4, establish clear ownership of your web pages. Make sure you know who's responsible for updating the information on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly. This helps keep all the information on your website relevant, and making sure the residents are getting the most up-to-date information to make this tool as useful as possible for your communities. And finally, just working with your team. When you do have ownership of something, it's always good to continue to collaborate with the group of people around you. Getting feedback from all the stakeholders, like I said in the continuous improvement tip, can help you see new perspectives and find opportunities to make things better for users of your webpage. And you'll learn about things you never thought of before. None of it would be possible without the collaboration between me and the solid waste program manager in town, Gosha Stolarska. We kind of put our heads together and we're able to bring that webpage to life and make it a useful tool for our community. So in summary, for best practices is being process driven, being creative, continuously improving your website, and owning it. And now I have time for questions.
Excellent. If folks can put your questions into the chat box, Missy and Gail will help get them answered. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we have one from Kathy Mirza. Terrific presentation of your website, Taylor. Do you find that residents report missed collections through this tool? And if yes, how are responses provided to these individuals?
Yep. So our missed collections are reported. We use the OpenGov system. So they kind of put in like a ticket to some degree, and it goes to our solid waste and program coordinator, as well as waste management, who's our provider in town. So that's how the residents would get communicated with going forward. This is just a kind of like a bridge to get them from our town website, which we see as our central source of information from the town, to this permitting system that handles the back end of getting responses to those residents.
Great. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, great. Thank you, Taylor. Really great information.
Actually,
Sure.
Susan, I'm sorry, we do have one question that just
Okay.
came in.
Sure.
And it is from Allison from Melrose. And she says, thank you for a wonderful and informative presentation, Taylor. The question is, how do you access analytics data with Civics Plus?
Yep. So if you're a user of Civic Plus, if you log in to your website, on the top part of the screen, there will be a toolbar, and you click on modules, and underneath modules, there is a site tools option. And under site tools, there's the Google Analytics link that'll take you out to like a dashboard where you can find information about popular pages, how many people are accessing your website per day, how they're accessing your website, whether it's through your mobile app, an iPad, or a computer. There's lots of great information there to help you kind of figure out how people are staying in touch with you.
Thanks. Clear ownership of a web page is also important in terms of knowing how much lead time you need to give the person who's been tasked with updating it. If you're not performing the updates yourself and rely on others, advanced planning is involved for time-sensitive material. And because I know some of you don't have the access that Taylor might have for actually making direct changes. Charlotte Milan is our next presenter. Charlotte is the town of Arlington's recycling coordinator. Arlington also offers curbside collection and has a population of about 46,000. Their webpage generates some of the highest municipal traffic to Recycle Smart's Recyclopedia via an embedded widget. Charlotte will share some of Arlington's best practices, as well as a great analogy for understanding how different people can be seeking different levels or depths of information. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you. Very glad to be here. Driving people to our website is a central part of my job. And as was described before, this really avoids a lot of phone calls. And I truly value the access that I have. So Arlington is, we collect recycling trash and weekly and yard waste weekly for 36 weeks of the year, because we have absolutely no transfer ability in our community. And I think that's pretty typical for a lot of our urban neighbors. So we also have a drop-off, reuse, and recycling center. That means that we have a lot to communicate to our residents. I'm very much partnered with our public information officer, who has developed this vision platform website over the years, including some very large overhauls of the whole thing in an effort to make the site very readable, as well as ADA compliance, which is a huge priority for the town of Arlington at this time. So this is the front page of the trash recycling and composting page. That's the one that I own, and I have full control over the content of this page. I also get a lot of feedback, though, from our communications department when we're having ADA concerns, or if something needs to be posted in a new place. So we strive to have content that people care about. And luckily, as was described, trash is one of the top hits on the page at all times. And so we are going to use the events section, which is tied to our calendar over on the bottom right there, to update people on what's coming up, and having fun and exciting events like document shredding and household hazardous waste. These are all really important things for people. When they care about it, they want to know about it right away. And then in our news section, we want to be really timely and give people seasonal information and guide them to do the right thing in a broader sense. But all of this has to be very searchable. Everything on the site has to be very searchable. So the far left page side of the page is all of our sub pages. So each one of those pages may have additional charts, links, all kinds of things. Keeping the website organized is one of the biggest challenges, because as we all know, everyone approaches a website differently, and we can't please all the people all of the time. So we can go to the next page. We have some strategies that we carry out through our website. One is to go paperless. We used to send out over 20,000 6-page all color trash and recycle guides, and now we send out 560 paper guides and really draw people to our website. And we do that by largely providing through our email system, which people subscribe to. They opt in to our subscription lists, And the one on in the right-hand column, you'll see Town of Arlington notices. These are pushed out emails to thousands of residents in Arlington who have signed up for this. We give them only top issues. What you can see here, 1 to 5 emails per week that might have 1, 2, maybe 3 topics in them, such as road closures and snow emergencies and secure document shredding. So this is the way to bring people back to the town's website through a very exciting thing that's happening. The public information officer has a policy to keep all of the town's news in this way consolidated. So I don't have a separate mailing list for trash and recycling. This way, if someone's interested in an Arlington High School construction update, for example, they're going to be brought back to the town website where they might see a news story about an upcoming document shredding event. So that's a purposeful strategy that comes from the highest level. So I don't have my own social media either. I tie everything from social media back to my website or back to my web page, back to a news story or to a calendar item. And my calendar items are also listed on the town's main calendar. And having everything be brought back to my page draws a lot of traffic. So we can go to the next page, please. This is the strategy that the public information officer subscribes to, and we've all found very helpful. The notice system creates a three-tiered system where you have a fabulous, informative one-line title, which is your bite. Do you care about document shredding? Not really. I don't care about document shredding. I care about the fact that the yard waste is delayed. So I'm going to click on that one. And then maybe the next 2 lines are the snack. They're going to give us just a little bit more information. Yes, there are yard waste delays, and you can expect them for the rest of the week. Well, that's a bummer. But if I really want to find out more, there's going to be a link back to the website to a news article, probably explaining why is a great question some people are asking. And we want to provide those different levels for the people who have the time to read, and then also just the basic information for the people who just want to know how to get to what they want to. We also ask what people want, and this has been a very successful strategy that we continue to develop over time. All right, so the next slide is about data, and asking people what they want in surveys, which was mentioned before, is a great way to find out, are people accessing what we think they're accessing for the reason that we think they're accessing it. Google Analytics, great for knowing how many views you're getting, but only people can tell you through some kind of survey device what they would like to do differently, or what you're not offering that they would like to have. We, for example, had a town app that we paid for a while. That would be a major subscription undertaking, because everything online comes at a cost, and you can imagine for a municipality that was quite expensive. But we found that people were not accessing our website through the town app. So we're sunsetting that. We're letting that go. People are bookmarking it in their browser on their phones. However they're getting there, it's not through the app. So we're not going to spend that money anymore. And the public information officer is looking now at creating a dashboard so that the staff like me, who are in charge of a lot of content, have an opportunity to really see our analytics on a regular basis. This really helps me move things around. I have to say, so if I see that people are having a hard time finding something that I really want to promote, that's my green light to make some changes, and I am constantly updating the website. So I have one more slide, I think. And formatting, having your content format efficiently across devices is a really important thing to check. This is what our website looks like when it's on a phone. I go back and forth between my phone and my laptop. The laptop is where I'm writing everything, but I always check and see what it looks like on my phone, because from our data, we know a lot of people are accessing things on the go. Now, they're not using the app anymore, but they're still getting to the website. And you can see that the Recyclopedia search bar is embedded in our website, so it comes up nicely on a phone. It's just a really well formatted search tool that we really lean on. We have the calendar on here as well, but you can see you can also download the current guide is a PDF. That's cumbersome, so we know that we have to keep things in PDF form for those people who are home and want to print something out, as well as a more on-the-go format, such as in a calendar. And again, I'll just close with saying that, you know, updating that content constantly is the main part of the job, and making exciting events, which is exhausting but necessary in a municipal setting. That is what brings people over and over again to our site to find out what's going on. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Charlotte. Do we have any questions for Charlotte?
Nothing in the chat yet.
Okay. I really love the concept of offering bites, snacks, and meals to people on a website. To take the analogy a step further, sometimes a bite will whet somebody's appetite and make them go in search of a meal, which is awesome. And sometimes providing a 10-course meal without providing a snack will cause people who really only want a bite to run in the opposite direction.
I did want to mention with our previous speaker, they have pointed out that you have to be a webmaster in order to use the analytics tools. So if you're not a webmaster or have an entire website's administrative access, you won't be able to access this tool if you can only edit your department page.
But you can ask your administrator for the information.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think we'll just move ahead. Thank you again, Charlotte. Both Arlington and Shrewsbury have dedicated people working on communicating and educating their residents about solid waste. Some municipalities are not as fortunate, but still manage to do a great job driving people to their website and ensuring that their website gives people the information they need. The town of Dover's Janet Greenwood is a volunteer member of the town-appointed Recycling Communications Committee. While they have less control over the website's administration, they use social media to get attention and drive people to the website, where they can access town information and MassDEP resources. The town of Dover also generates record traffic to the Recycle Smart Recyclopedia. They're a drop-off community with a population of about 6,000. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you, Susan. As Susan said, I'm a volunteer. It's an all-volunteer committee, and I'm in charge of communications. And as a senior citizen, I have no tech expertise. As such, I may be the only non-professional in many ways on this webinar, so bear with me. Thank you. Dover's, next slide, please. Dover's a small town. We have no curbside pickup. We don't have a communications person. We haven't had an IT professional for 2 years. The only person in town who can do any changes to the website is the town clerk, and that includes any part of the website. So we are basically have our thumb in the dike, and what we try to do is find errors and get those fixed. And watching the seminar today, I will have my list of things we want done to our pages ready for whenever we get an IT professional. So we have to do everything else we can to ensure that our residents get all the information they need about recycling. Our goal is to promote more people to recycle and to provide information for them. So you'll see shortly, we do whatever we can to drive traffic to the sites that have information for them. Transfer stations open 3 days a week. The town voted down pay-as-you-throw. We have free stickers. We have no way of determining how many households use our transfer station. And we have not had hauler regulations. They are now ready to be implemented in 2024, and we're looking forward to getting the information that we need. And our town website recycling page has 3 links to the Recycle Smart, including the landing page and all the tabs and the sidebars. The Recyclopedia link widget is on the bottom of the transfer station town website page. And the next slide, please. There you'll see that. And the next slide, please. And again, this is the recycling committee page, and that also has the recyclopedia information. The next page shows the ways that we are trying to link to get our information out to our residents. The Council on Aging newsletter, which reaches about 700 residents and about 50% via email. I'm sorry, there's 700 recipients. There includes all of our surrounding towns, and they don't seem to have a way of knowing on the emails on which ones are in Dover or not. But these are ways, this is information I submit. So I write content for all of our social media. And so I will write the content, anything that's happening, I'll send it to all of the social media pages we have, and I will send an alert to the town clerk to ask her to send the email alert and the news flash. The next slide, please. We have the town newsletter and the town news flash are sent by email. The newsletter is sent by email and of course can be accessed on the town website. There are 425 residents who get the email, who sign the email, and we're doing everything we can to increase that. And again, without being able to make our website more robust, it's been, you know, a challenge. Next slide, please. We use nextdoor.com social media page, and we actually have their Nextdoor has divided Dover into 7 communities, which I make sure that anything I post goes to all of them. And again, we announce any event that's happening. We'll have links to either Recycle Smart or whatever is related to that particular issue. We are doing constant monthly recyclables and trash tidbits every month, just, you know, little tidbits of information that's needed. Next page, please. We have a Dover Recycling Committee Facebook page, and we also have a Dover Facebook group. The Recycling Committee Facebook group is open to all residents. And the next page, the town residents Facebook group is not an official town site. However, it is fully monitored, and only town residents are permitted in it. And it's for all sorts of information. And I will be posting I do most of the postings about anything that's going on in town, including recycling. And we reached 1,200. It's actually, although it's fewer than Nextdoor, it seems to be very robust. And our last slide is showing the very low-tech ways in which, in every way we can, we want people to know what's happening. And the first photo in this slide is a handwritten shredding sign by me, because as everybody's mentioned, shredding is one of the most popular things in a community offers. And ours is always offered with our special recycling day. This time we were unable to do both, so we wanted to be sure that everybody who came to the transfer station would be aware that it was going to be separate. Although I'd written the articles, it's so hard to be sure that people understand there are 2 different dates. And we have a whiteboard and an electronic sign, and we use banners. And anecdotally, the banners or the electronic sign seem to be the way that a lot of people hear about our special events. So this is what we're doing, and we're trying very hard. I've learned a lot. I probably have learned more than most of you on this call. And I'm happy to answer any questions on any other kinds of social media that we're using. But again, it's all on a volunteer basis.
Excellent. Does anyone have questions for Janet?
Nothing in the chat yet.
Okay.
I actually have a question. So Janet, about how many hours a week or a month or whatever you can come up with do you spend doing social media and any of the website stuff that you send to the town clerk?
I personally spend about an hour a week because I do have other work. So again, it's an all volunteer. And one of my colleagues will remind me or ask me to do, post that we're going to have a collection for the furniture bank, which we do every month. So it's at least 1 hour a week for recycling, not counting, once a month, 2 or 3 hour deep dive.
Great. Well, thank you, Janet. Thank you for your volunteer service and the great work that you and your committee are able to orchestrate in spite of limited access to website administration. Kate Donovan and Jessica Kemelis are from one of Massachusetts' top 10 smallest municipalities. The town of Tolland has a population of 500, including a good number of seasonal residents, and operates a transfer station. Kate's primary role in the town is superintendent of public works, and Jessica's primary role is town assessor. But as those of you who live in small municipalities understand, employees often wear multiple hats. Kate and Jess will tell us about the hats they wear and how they manage to produce an effective website with really minimal resources. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just give me a minute. I lost the page. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Good. So my name's Kate Donovan. I'm the superintendent of public works. Some of my other roles, I'm also the highway department superintendent. I'm responsible for managing the transfer station, buildings and grounds in town. I'm the tree warden, procurement officer, and the 911 assistant agent. So I've got a handful of responsibilities. And I'm also responsible for collecting any news, announcements, information about the highway department as well as the transfer station, and conveying it to Jessica so she can post it on our website.
My name is Jessica Kelmelis. I am the chief assessor in town. I'm also the library director, the IT coordinator and webmaster, and I'm the chair of the cultural council. So that's a ton of hats. Our website was designed primarily for good communication in a timely fashion. We had a newsletter that went out once a month, and any board that wanted to put an announcement on that newsletter had to have it in 3 weeks in advance. So we had a real lag in our communication system. Susan padded our population a little bit. We are under 500. We're about 470 something. But of our 500 plus homes in Tolland, almost 300 are summer residents. So our population does expand greatly in the summertime. And these are longtime residents. They've had these homes for, in some families, generations. And it's a way, the website is a way for us to keep the people that don't live in town year round up to date on changes. So the website was devised by, with the help of Civic Plus, which was then virtual town hall, by a retiree in town whose profession was an IT designer. So the website was designed by them. And then when she left town, I took it over about 8 years ago. We don't have a lot of news that goes out because we're such a small town, but we do like to get things out, and we do push the subscription. Every time we send out tax bills, we put in an additional note asking people to subscribe to the website so that we can get the information out.
So just a little background about our transfer station. We're obviously a very small town, so our transfer station is not too big. We have 6 containers, and out of the 6 containers, we rent 3 of them. And we don't have a means to haul. We have to pay a company to haul our trash. So we have 1 attendant It's open 3 days a week for a total of 9 hours. And we've got trash, recycling, the paper and cardboard, 2 bottles and cans, metal container, electronics container. We have a swap shed. We don't have a means to collect yard waste or compost yet, and we don't collect hazardous waste. We also have clothing bin and a book bin at the transfer station. So it's a pretty small operation. And our website, the goal is for it to be a one-stop shop for everybody. All of our seasonal residents that come back to town, and our primary, obviously, and as well as so our transfer station attendant, he's deaf, so it is to have everything on the website so everybody can go on and answer any questions that they might have. It's a very useful tool.
It helps with the communication from his point of view as well as the patron's point of view, because he doesn't end up having to spend so much time. It's all laid out for people.
Yeah, and I think, Jess does an awesome job keeping everything organized. We try to, basically every element of our transfer station is on the website. So if we just take a look at some of our tabs, so on the front page, we have the Recyclopedia widget, which that is actually, we put that up, I believe it's a point on the RDP grant. So it's nice to have that on the front page, front and center for everybody to see. They can't really miss it. And then scrolling up to the top of the tab on the left, we have the Beyond the Bin. We have that top tab for Beyond the Bin recycling, where there's a link so people are brought to that website. And just keeping everything, it's our format works out really well because we've got everything on the tabs list. And it's a work in progress too, because it's like any website, you've got to keep updated and and reorganize things as time goes along. So our transfer station is people have to purchase stickers for their vehicles. So the third tab down, we have the transfer station permit application. So people can go to the website and print it out, or it's also available at the town hall, but our town hall is open 3 days a week. So to have this accessible on the website is very useful for residents.
And the town hall will process that permit application through the mail. So people can send a self-addressed stamped envelope prior to coming out for the summer. They'll already have their sticker and they'll be all set to go.
And so we also have an electronic bin, which is the second tab down. So I took time to create a list of pricing, and it's not too much, but it's just something for people to refer to. I have paper pamphlets that Jeff our attendant hands out, but it's obviously useful to have all the pricing on the website, because that's a lot of the calls that I would get is about pricing. And I also have a price list on that tab for a bulk dumpster, because we get a seasonal bulk dumpster every summer. When the second home people come into town, we make a bulk dumpster available to everybody who has a sticker for the transfer station. So this is constant. I update it every year just to make sure the prices are up to date. And I also I use these PDFs to convey other messages too. Like I have a mattress, the textile ban, which is the next tab that we can take a look at. So these 2 PDFs I put together, so the waste reduction news from MassDEP, that the Municipal Assistance Coordinators, they put that together. It is an extremely useful tool that I've used. So the Recycle Smart, MRF, and MassDEP websites, I kind of took a lot of different information and I copy and pasted, and I curtailed it to Tolland's residents. Like we have CMRK book or clothing bins. And so I added a few notes that were pertinent to our town. And, it took me a couple hours. It's a lot of information, but, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of resources out there that you can use
on your website.
One of the things that works really nicely is that because our website funnels all through just me, no one else has access to actually make the changes, is that someone like Kate is going to go through her own page and decide what she wants to see. And then she translates that to me, and her job is done until I do the work, which probably takes me an hour if she makes a bunch of changes. And then she goes back and checks it. So it kind of breaks up the task.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think, it's important to keep things simple, concise, organized, and basically, put your transfer station on the website. It's pretty much all laid out there with all the information that everybody can know, and using the resources, using your Mac, they're excellent resources. And it's can be overwhelming, but you just take it one thing at a time to create a useful website.
Excellent. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have questions for Jess and Kate?
None in the chat.
Okay. Tolland is an inspirational example of a very small town providing really useful information to its residents despite minimal resources. So my hat is off to you.
Thank you.
Really great, inspirational. Okay. As we've looked at various websites here today, you may have noticed that many of them share MassDEP resources to give residents easy access to user-friendly and accurate information. Some of the MassDEP resources are accessed by providing a link, and others are by embedding a widget. The difference between the two is that a link directs your residents to an entirely different website, while embedding a resource allows your residents to access information in that resource without leaving your municipal website. It makes it easy for the user, but it's a little bit more complicated for a website administrator. It's not rocket science, so don't worry about it. It's very doable. The Macs were discussing how to make it as easy as possible to share MassDEP resources on websites, and Gail Guerin came up with the concept of providing templates. Julia Green, the Mac from the Northeast District 3, is going to share the first batch of the new website templates with you. Each template includes an explanation of how and why the proposed information is useful, suggested text to include on your website, and the links or embedding instructions you need to make it happen or where to find them. Municipalities are not required to post the information or to use the suggested text verbatim. The templates are additional and recommended tools for you to employ should you agree that they're valuable for your residents. In some cases, adding them to your website will help you qualify for RDP points. So Julia, take it away.
Thank you. So can you see my notes? I think I can, or can you just see the
Yeah,
slide?
you're not in presentation mode. We can see all your slides.
Yeah. It didn't do this the last time, so let me see how to get out of this.
Now we see your notes.
Good?
No.
All right, great.
There you
Here we
go.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's, it's funny because I see Gail in here. So, okay, good. My name's Julia Green. I'm the Northeast District 3 Municipal Assistance Coordinator. So, like Susan said, we actually, Gail Garan had created these templates, and we have just two right now, 2 documents, and you'll get that when we send the information out about the along with this taping and the slides of this webinar. My slide, the first slide is, I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise here. I'm just gonna hold on one second. Okay, here I go. Sorry. All right, so the first template is about embedding the Recycle Smart tool. and widget, sorry, and allows your residents to search for whether an item is recyclable or not in the curbside or drop-off program right from your municipal website. The widget allows anyone who visits your website to search for hundreds of common items like pizza boxes to find out if they belong in the recycling bin or elsewhere. Embedding this tool is easy to do and will empower your residents to get answers to their questions, and your office will get less calls. So for more information on how to embed the widget, you can email Janice Pare, and you should probably connect your webmaster with her as well, because they're the person who would really know how to put this on your webpage. And she can provide, the correct information for embedding the widget. So down below, and we've seen lots of examples in the past presentations of what the widget looks like. So let me just, let me see. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. There it is. Okay, so the first example is Lawrence's curbside program, and they have the widget on their webpage. And what we're suggesting is that you might put a little information above the widget to explain to people what the widget is. You don't have to, and a lot of people find it just intuitive, but not everybody does. So this is what Lawrence has on their webpage, and they have a pretty nice website too, because half the population is Spanish speaking. You can easily switch to Spanish and find the same information. And a lot of the examples, I'm going to do like small critiques too, because like one of the things that they have here is that in one point they call it the waste widget. Further down, they call it the Recyclopedia wizard, and then it's also the Recyclopedia. So in some ways, maybe an update to that and calling it one thing, but it has a good description about how that widget works. Let me see. Great. I'm moving on. Next one is Wayland, which is a drop-off community, and they have this on their main page, and I just have a screenshot of their widget. But they also, what's nice that's shown here is that they also have a Recycle Smart button or partner button right below that to show that they're partners with MassDEP on Recycle Smart. And then below that is they also give the web address, the link to Recycle Smart as well, because that will be the next thing I want to talk about, which is including a link. I'm sorry, it's just that to Recycle Smart on your web page, in addition from just the widget. So again, like sample text for including that link on your web page might be Recycle Smart MA is a statewide initiative whose mission is to educate residents about what can and cannot be recycled. The information provided on recyclesmartma.org is vetted by recycling experts and by the material recovery facilities across the state. The key criteria for inclusion on the list of acceptable materials are: 1, the material should not harm the workers or equipment. 2, the MRF equipment must be able to handle the material, and there must be a consistent market for the material. So Recycle Smart MA believes a consistent message about recycling helps reduce confusion and foster better recycling habits. So my next page, got it. Can you see that? I'm really having some technical difficulties. Can you see that thing that says
Yeah.
got it?
It's showing like a,
Pencil.
I
yeah,
know, I can't get out of it either. Interesting. I know, I'm
Try-
trying, I
try
tried, I tried the escape.
undo, try that.
Oh, right there. Nope. Very odd. I'm going to stop sharing and go back in.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Let's hope it stays. All right, yes. So back to this page. This is great. Now I can see everything.
We
So
still see you, Julia.
what?
We still see you.
Oh, you still see me. So it isn't great because I'm not back in there.
If you want, I can
Hmm.
also share your slides too.
Yeah, that might be, let me just try one more time. And then, that's funny. I don't know why I'm having these issues. How does that look?
Right now, we see all your slides to the left.
Okay, so I have to put it in presentation mode.
Mhm.
And now I have to get out of this mode. Okay,
We see your notes right now.
how
There you
about
go.
now? All
Perfect.
right, great, great. So I'm not, all right, so back to this page here. I'm sorry about the technical issues I've been having. So what I want to say about putting the link in for recyclesmartma.org is that you might want to, going back to what Charlotte talked about, a bite, a snack, a meal. This is kind of a snack on why we want people to go to the Recycle Smart webpage. And on that note, here's an example. It's funny, like I went through all of my municipalities' web pages in the past few days. And so if Drake is on the line or any of you, you're seeing that you're part of the presentation. So what they've done here is in just a small amount of space, they put the Recyclopedia and the Recycle Smart guides. So they kind of explain the whole Recycle Smart program in this paragraph here and in the guides. But then they also, in the second paragraph down, as you can see, is please visit the Recycle Smart website. And thank you for helping the town. So that's the way they're driving people to that link, along with having the Recyclopedia for people to search for information. Let me just see. Okay, so the third template would be to include a link to Beyond the Bin, which people do all the time. And so here's sample text that we would suggest you do is MassDEP's Beyond the Bin search tool is a next level recycle searching. Use it to find out how and where to donate or recycle items that can't go in your home recycling bin and are too good to trash. So I'm going to use example of Weston. Weston put it in the right on the right hand side of their web page. Those purple arrows are mine. And if you have and they explain again Beyond the Bin with a paragraph, and then below that they have a link to the MassDEP Beyond the Bin link. The next one is template 4, which is to include a link to MassDEP's waistbands fact sheet. And so something that you could say, and again, when we think about the snack and the meal, is what are waistbands? Why does the state have them? And why is it important to divert things out of the trash? So this little paragraph says waistbands help to increase recycling and support the recycling economy, which provides thousands of jobs and millions of dollars in economic activity in Massachusetts. By reducing the disposal of banned materials, we also capture valuable resources, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, save energy, and reduce our need for landfills and incinerators. So on this example is Medford has one. We don't have too many municipalities that include the waistband regulations on their web page. As you can see, Medford has theirs at the bottom of the page. But one thing, if Medford is on the webinar, is to include the paragraph that explains what waistbands are, because they have a lot of great information on this page, and there are links at the end of the presentation that you can follow to actually look at the full pages. So they have a lot on reduce, reuse, recycle. And this is just a continuation of information. And at the bottom, they have waistbands, but there's no explanation. Now, the next one is an example of Weston again. And Weston has MassDEP regulations over here on the right-hand side, and they explain what waistbands are. Without saying waistbands, but basically that the state regulations have restricted certain materials from landfills, combustion facilities, and transfer facilities. These items include yard waste, metal, glass, aluminum, plastic, recyclable paper, and other materials. So for this one, providing a link to the waistband fact sheet would be helpful, but they have it there. They have an explanation as to why reducing trash is important. And this is a great page to look at with the information that they give on reducing waste. All right, so the next page is the recycling guide translations template. So a lot of you for the diversity, equity, and inclusion point, one of the things is to have these translations on your webpage. So again, in putting these recycling guides up, and this one shows you how to, the template actually gives you the language. We have 7 templates or 7 translated guides and in 7 different languages. And we also have links in those languages, and I'll show you that in a minute. But again, it's like giving the context ahead of time, and that's what this template is explaining. So putting this paragraph in that says MassDEP Smart Recycling Guide should be posted on every municipal website. This guide was approved by all material recovery facilities in the state, so they should all be using the guide as well. MassDEP has provided this information in 7 languages to help expand your outreach. Please take advantage of this resource and share it with your residents. So on the next page, as an example, I'm going back to Drake-It. So Drake-It, what Drake-It has done is they provide the Recycle Smart Guide and a link to it in English, in Spanish, and in Vietnamese, because those are the common languages that are spoken in Drake-It. And then they have another button, which is more languages. So it's really clean and easy to get to. And again, they're in the language, spoken language, so that if the person doesn't speak English, they can still understand that this is a button to information that'll be helpful to them. And the next one is Ipswich. So Ipswich has also provided, I think, all of the guides on their webpage, and they've actually put those guides on the webpage again in the language, the spoken language. So they have like all 7 guides up on their webpage and translated. So the next page is just a link to the example web pages. So they all have interesting things on them, as do many of these web pages, but I would really like to point out Medford has some great information on reduce, reuse, recycle on that same page that I showed you, and the link will take you there. And then Weston's webpage has great information on basically the why of recycling or of waste reduction. So that's it, and hopefully I won't have any more issues.
Thank you, Julia. Does anyone have questions for Julia? Do we have questions in the chat? The templates will be sent to webinar participants along
Yes.
with slide decks and a link to the recording.
Yes. So I did just want to say that the link to Beyond the Bin has changed. And so we've put that new link in the chat as well. So if you do currently have a link on your website, or if you're going to put it on, please use this link or update it. And then let's see. Someone asked if all the required DEP links add info for earning RDP points listed in one place. That was from Amy Donovan. And as you know, our requirements for RDP are subject to change. So you may, it may be different next year. So when your RDP application comes out, check it out. Sometimes you have to, have 3 or 4 different things to earn a point. Some may be a requirement, some may be a suggestion. So just, use these templates that we're providing to you. And I would recommend that you include all of them on your webpage because they're just very useful for your residents.
Great, thanks. Our next presenter is going to focus on website-based communication about hazardous waste. Heather Billings is a senior waste reduction consultant at the East Center for Ecotechnology. One of her responsibilities is helping waste-to-energy provider Covanta deliver materials separation plans for their CMAS and Haverhill incineration facilities. Heather's superpower is outreach and education about mercury-bearing products and a few other materials that are critical to keep out of the waste stream. While educating Covanta contracted municipalities is their priority, CET and Covanta realize that the information they provide these municipalities is valuable to all municipalities in the state. They're happy to share their materials, which means that any municipality can share and link to their resources. To help illustrate waste communication for hazardous waste and best practices and the educational resources that they've developed, Heather has developed a few fictional or dummy municipal web pages to share with you. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much. I'm really very pleased to be part of this webinar today. I've learned a lot from the previous participants, and I look forward to kind of incorporating that and maybe making some future tweaks on my fictional sites here. So I work for the Center for Ecotechnology, and as Susan mentioned, we are contracted with Covanta to assist with their material separation plans for CMAS and Haverhill. And the purpose is to help residents identify mercury-containing items and dispose of them properly to keep them out of the waste stream. So one of the things that I do is go around to the different communities and look at their universal waste sheds at their recycling centers and go to the town halls and councils on aging. And when I'm preparing for that trip, I go to the website first and I'm like, now, where is the transfer station and when is it open? And then, so sometimes I do have to do a lot of digging around on a website to figure out, is it run by the DPW or the Board of Health? And where am I going to find the information about the recycling center? So the very first thing that I would recommend on our fictional Mercuryville website is to have a drop down to the solid waste and recycling center right from that homepage. Now this, besides helping me out in doing my different site visits, it's from the lens of a new resident moving to town or a resident with a new question. And if they need to go digging too far into the website with this item in their hand, trying to figure out what they can do with it, or if it needs to be handled properly, if the path of breadcrumbs is too long, they may give up and say, oh, I guess I can throw it out. So trying to make that information quick and easy to find is my purpose. And so we've got a lot of resources to share today. I am not a IT professional. I have not put a website together. All I am doing is providing some information that you may want to use on your websites. And again, this is fictional. I'm only doing the hyperlinks because that's something that you can use later to when you get the PDF, and you can click on the hyperlink and you can just see what it is. Charlotte was super helpful in explaining that this is not actual best practices for ADA websites, and I'm not meaning to be that way. It's only to provide information. And I will also make sure that I share a list. We have a kind of a summary document of all of these links. And we are just recently been notified that a lot of translations have been updated, and we'll be uploading them to the resource doc which I can share with you. So just looking on the kind of what you could use for links, sort of in alphabetical order, we have a battery identification chart, which is also linked on the Recycle Smart Recyclopedia, which is awesome. And I'll show that a little bit later. Got the Beyond the Bin. If there's kind of a local organization that you might want to link to for additional resources, then looking at how to name the fluorescent light bulbs and mercury items. And I've got it kind of listed 3 different ways here. Fluorescent bulbs and mercury items. People may not know that fluorescent bulbs have mercury in them. So I like to see it spelled out a little, okay. So then household hazardous waste events, making sure to keep that up to date and that there's not a flyer from 5 years ago. The page from MassDEP on safely managing hazardous household products is a wonderful page. Lots of information there, and also a searchable database. So you could plug in battery or propane tank or paint, and it will tell you what to do with those. Based on yesterday's run through, I wanted to make sure to include the MassDEP waste disposal ban link. Mercury products / fluorescent light bulbs is just another way of introducing the fact that fluorescent light bulbs have mercury in them. I frequently see recycling calendar, recycling center map, and recycling rules on websites. And while those are fantastic, that shouldn't be, in my opinion, the only place where like mercury and hazardous waste items are listed, because you may not know which one to click on. You might have to click on all 3 to find the information that you're looking for. The Recycle Smart, that will link to the site and the Recyclopedia as well. I included a link to Recycling Works in Massachusetts, which is a MassDEP funded program for businesses and institutions to comply with the waste bans. CET also manages that for MassDEP. And so that's more for businesses and institutions, but there's a lot of great information on there that may be helpful to you in your town work. Thermostat Recycling Corporation, there's a link to plug in your town's zip code, or the zip code where you are, and that shows free places to recycle thermostats. Mostly at like HVAC suppliers. And then universal waste is the technical term for the mercury items, but a lot of people confuse that with hazardous waste, may not realize that again, a fluorescent light bulb would be considered universal waste. And then over on the right-hand side, I really encourage having a lot of detailed information about the location, not using nicknames, the Old Town Barn, having the street address, the days and hours of operation, if there's any differences for allowing small businesses to come in, whether it's different hours by appointment only, but providing access, limited access, controlled access, however you want to do it, to businesses is a great way to continue to keep those banned materials out of the waste stream. Covanta is focused on mercury items, so I wanted to, this whole slide presentation was one we did at a Covanta meeting. So wanting to share with residents about what types of things would be accepted at the universal waste shed and what isn't accepted, and if there's any special information about elemental mercury, then some best practices. So any addition, there's a couple of additional links that are on here. The difficult to manage booklet, a hazardous hand-me-downs, which shows that antiques can have elemental, that can have mercury in them. And that is based on some great information from New MOA. We've got the map from DEP of the bulb and mercury disposal locations, the DEP site on mercury information, and spill information. which may be interesting, maybe useful for your town to include if you're receiving inquiries about spills. Fluorescent bulbs and like a very, very small mercury device might be something that your resident would clean up. If it's anything bigger than that, or if it's on if it's not on a hard surface, it really needs specialized procedures, and we strongly advise calling the health department and fire department. Our purpose is to identify mercury items and recycle them before they become a spill. The battery disposal guide that I was talking about, here's an image of it. And the idea here is to help residents figure out what they've got in their hand for batteries and how to recycle it, instead of just bringing the giant Ziploc bag of batteries down to the recycling center. So keeping the alkaline batteries out of the mix because they can be disposed of as trash. Some communities recycle them. Again, there should be a separation for that. But separating them into rechargeable, where you could use the call to recycle box for free, and then separating out the lithium primary button batteries, lithium primary other shapes, and that can improve the organization of the universal waste shed and reduce your recycling costs. The call to recycle link on the top left, second one down, that is also a searchable tool to find out where the call to recycle battery recycling boxes are. And household hazardous waste events. Again, providing that great information about who, what, where, when, where is it located, what are you going to take, what are you not going to take, directions to the site, is it going to be free, is it not? Or is registration required or not? Can out-of-town residents or very small quantity generators attend or not? So just having that information on the website, next events, and then also perhaps a link to vendors from the state contract who accept hazardous waste year-round, because there's always that person who is moving in an emergency situation the day after the last hazardous waste day. And on the flyer, I would encourage having just taking another look at it with as clear information as possible, not just using the one that you've always used, because the circle shows mercury, but it only mentions thermostats and thermometers. Well, what does that mean about elemental mercury? And the idea of saying as clearly as possible what you can accept and what you don't is to reduce the chance that you're going to frustrate a resident by turning them away with an item that can't be accepted. We've also developed a fillable PDF to try and handle this situation. So it can be things like latex paint, do you accept it or not? Elemental mercury, accept it or not? There's fillable boxes that you can add in additional information and customize it however you like. These are tools that are just created because we realize that the Covanta information doesn't stop at the town line, and it can be useful for other communities, and we are happy to share. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Lots of great information and resources. Do we have any questions for Heather?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. I've frequently shared Covanta's battery and mercury lamp resources with my municipalities, and they are always thrilled to have them. They are very well done. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm happy to take questions at a later time, to email me so you get the PowerPoint to look at.
Okay. Any other questions? We can open it up for general questions. I think Missy has a question as well.
Yeah. So the question, this one goes to all of our participants, all of our speakers, is do any of you do like a little test of what you put up there or your website with maybe a coworker or a friend or a family member to see how easily they can find information and that kind of thing? And any of our presenters could answer that.
Charlotte looks like she has an answer.
Well, I haven't done that specifically, but I've certainly been called out by the general public. And we sometimes will put something out without announcing that we're putting it out. And the people who are the deep searchers will correct things for us, give us that information. Then when we're pretty sure everything looks good, then we'll advertise that something is up on the website. There are people who make it their job to correct us.
Thank you.
Taylor?
Yeah, kind of going off of what Charlotte said, a lot of our employees are also residents, so we'll have like family members check it out and see if like the information's better. When we did improve our website after the first time, we checked in again to make sure that like the updates were helpful, and we found that they were helpful. But again, it goes back to that continuous improvement to make sure that like if someone can't find something, figuring out a way to elevate it to make it easier.
Great.
Thank you.
We hope that you've been inspired by what you've learned this morning and that you've added some new tools to your public education toolbox. I'd like to remind you that there are two other tools that should be in your webpage toolbox. The first is your Municipal Assistance Coordinator, or MAC, who's a useful resource if you need help or advice with your website. And the second is your RDP grant funds, because they can be used to hire professional help for your website and or social media accounts. A link to the recording of this webinar, along with copies of slide presentations and auxiliary materials, will be sent to you within the next week. And I would like to send a big thank you to each of our presenters. We appreciate the time and talent that they contributed to this project. Thanks, everybody, and have a really great day.
Thank you.
Not everyone.
Can stop the